everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some more fall DIYs to share with you that are not only easy, but they're super budget friendly. If you want to know how to make them, stick around. I'll show you how. Thank y'all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Right, Maxwell? Okay, for this one, I'm going to start with one of the Dollar Tree yard signs, and I'm just going to take some tan colored pipe cleaners and I'm just going to start tying it around the bottom. And I'm going to use quite a few. I'm not sure exactly how many I use, but you just want to use enough that'll fill it up. And you'll figure that out as you're putting this all together. But just twist them around a couple of times tight, and then you can move these once you get them put in here. So just go ahead and start loading them up. Next, I'm going to take some Deco mesh I got at Hobby Lobby. It measures 10 inches, and I'm cutting it into 10-inch strips. And I'm not going to use the whole entire Deco mesh roll on this. I actually used maybe about 2/3 of it. But just keep cutting into strips until you have quite a few of them. But they are 10 inches wide by 10 inches wide. You're going to take the Deco mesh and you're going to roll the raw edges together. So your outside edges are the finished out edges, and just pull them together and then go ahead and just wrap it around your pipe cleaner 2 times real tight. And then you're going to continue to do this all the way until you have it all the way down to the bottom and it's full. And you can push them together so that they are tighter, but you do want this to be pretty full. And then I found a quicker way to do this. So you roll it up, add a little clip on one end, and then go ahead and roll the other side to it, and then you can pull it apart. Okay, then you're just going to continue to keep going until you have it completely full. And then go ahead, as you're putting these in here, go ahead and push them up to the top. You want it to be full. And you could actually use multicolors in this. I just had this one. I've had it for a couple of years, so I thought I'd go ahead and use that. But you could, put any kind of color combination you want to, and mix colors as well. In all, I used about 27 of these to make this complete thing. But you do want to get the wide one, the 10-inch wide one, because I'm going to show you in a little bit how we're going to make it a swag, but you need to make sure that it's wide enough at the top to come down. Now, if you want to go wider, you can, but you don't want to go smaller than 10 inches. Okay, next I took a dowel stick and I sharpened one end of it with a pencil sharpener, and I'm just running it through the center of a synthetic cork. Now this cork is 1.5 inches, and this is what's going to serve as the stopper at the end of this so these do not fall off. And just keep going until you have it pretty full, and then we're going to come in and we're going to cut that cork short and glue that in. That way it won't ever slide off of this little rod. Now that you're close to the very bottom of this, I'm going to put this last one on, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut that cork short. And I'm just going to glue it in with some hot glue. But you see how far down I went? I mean, I've got these really pushed together, so it's really a tight bunch in the center here. Go ahead and take your cork off. We're going to cut it in half, and then we're just going to put some hot glue on it and glue it back on. And that way, this will keep any of that pipe cleaner from slipping off. To add some color, I'm taking some green ribbon and some orange ribbon. I got both of these at Dollar Tree. They measure 2.5 inches wide, and I'm going to cut them in 10-inch strips. And I'm just using a little rotary cutter to do this. This is an easy way to cut your ribbon, and it's an easy way to cut the Deco mesh too. And I'm just making a mark right there so I don't have to keep bringing my ruler in and measuring. Now I'm just going to cut a bunch of strips. I ended up using 2 rolls of each color on this one. And they're not real big spools, so if you got your ribbon from somewhere else, you would have more ribbon. You probably wouldn't have to use but maybe 1 spool. And then I'm going to cut the green one in 10-inch, and I'm going to cut the orange one in 10 inches as well. I'm going to notch a V at the end of each one of these ribbons. And I'm going to do it on the orange one and the green one. And then I finally figured out it was a little bit easier if you just kind of stack them up a bunch together. You can cut a bunch of them at one time. It made it a little bit faster. But you do want to cut both ends. To dress it up a little bit, I'm just alternating, putting these on each side. I'm folding them in half, and I'm putting each one of these together with the pipe cleaner and twisting them off. And then in a little bit, I'm going to start putting the pipe cleaner into the back and pulling it down and then tying it off. But just alternate, put the orange next to the green, and then on the side, the green next to the orange, and keep going until you get all the way down. And I'm going to kind of go fast through this, and then I'll stop a little bit and show you how I do pull them to the back. And you're just going to take your pipe cleaner and just going to pull it around to the back. Just go around your mesh. And then you're going to pull it really tight so that you don't see the pipe cleaner on the top side of the ribbon. And then just continue to do that as you're going along. And then we'll flip it over here after a while and we'll start tying it off. Just kind of fluff it up a little bit and then continue to put your green and your orange in and pull your pipe cleaners to the back. And you want to do this while you add each row, and then go ahead and twist it into the back and then go ahead and cut those off. But you want to pull them tight so that you don't see the pipe cleaner in the front. And then just keep going and adding until you get it completely filled in. And this really didn't take that long once you start going, and I only had about $15 in this entire project. And I'll give you the link for the ribbon I got at Hobby Lobby as well as the ribbon that I got at Dollar Tree. And be sure and tie these off as you're going, otherwise it's going to get so thick it's going to be really hard to get that wire to the back. And then just continue to clip it off of there and then keep adding. To create the swag, we're just going to start pulling these down into the shape. So go ahead and take the ones probably halfway down and start pulling them in until they make a V shape. Okay, then I got this little sign at Hobby Lobby. It comes in like a pack of 5. It says thankful, and I'm just painting it with a orange terracotta color paint. Okay, then I got these little acorns at Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to put about 4 or 5 of them inside of here just to kind of dress it up a little bit. And I'm just kind of putting them offset from each other. And you could put, you know, pine cones in here. You could put little pumpkins in here. You could really dress this up, but I just kind of wanted to make it look a little bit more simple. I'm just going to go ahead and glue on my thankful sign right at the top, just right on top of my ribbon. Hang this, I'm just taking a piece of jute and I'm just running it through the back wire on this, and then I'm just going to tie a knot on it. Okay, and that was pretty much it. This was a super simple one. This one turned out so pretty. You could actually even make one of these little swags just on a dowel stick. You don't really have to have a frame. This one turned out so pretty. Let me know what you think. Next project, I'm using a 3-inch wood round and 2 1.5-inch wood rounds. And then I'm taking some terracotta paint and I'm going to lightly go around the edges of both the big one and the 2 small ones. This is going to be his face. And I'm just kind of roughly doing this. I'm not doing it perfect, and I'm not making it solid. I just kind of want to get a little bit of color around the edges. If you fill it in too much, it won't look more natural. And I'm doing 2 of these. For a beak, I'm just taking a popsicle stick. Now, I stained these in another project a long time ago and I had some left over. So that's just a wood stain on there. And I'm just going to cut these at an angle for the beak part. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a triangle at the top to put between the 2 eyes. assemble them, I'm just going to take some wood glue and I'm going to put it on the inside edge of the eyes, and I'm also going to do the same thing for the beak. And I'm doing both of them the same way. The eyes, I'm just taking a 1-inch little wiggly eye that I got at Michael's, and I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue these on. Okay, next I'm taking some driftwood slices that I got from Amazon. They also have those at Dollar Tree from time to time in the floral department. And I just taken a wet sponge, dip it into that same terracotta paint, and then I'm kind of just staining them. I'm not doing it real heavy, just kind of lightly going over them, kind of like a stain. For the body, I'm just taking some wood branches that I trimmed off of my trees, and I'm just going to go ahead and attach the wings right to the side. Now, if you don't have branches that you can work from, these are about the same size as a Dollar Tree pool noodle. You could just cover it with some fabric. And I'm using E6000 glue and hot glue to attach this to the side. And if you do use the pool noodles from Dollar Tree, you could cover these with like burlap, or they also have some fabric that actually looks like wood, as well as some contact paper. Put some feathers on it. I just had some of these feathers, and I'm just going to attach a couple of them to each side of his eyes. And I'm doing both of these exactly the same way. The only difference I have between the two that I'm making is one is shorter than the other one. I think my largest one was 4.5 inches and my smallest one was 3 inches. Okay, then to give him a neck, I'm just going to take 2 little Jenga blocks and I'm just going to glue them together. Now these came in a pack where they had multicolored in there. You could actually paint it if you don't have the ones that are of colors. But the color just matched these so well, so I just left them like it is. But you want to make sure that you put some wood glue on there, and I would go ahead right now and put some hot glue on there as well, because when you drill them here in a little bit, they are going to probably pop apart if you don't. To attach the head to the neck, I'm just going to go ahead and tilt it to the left a little bit and the other one to the right a little bit, just to kind of give them just a little bit of a tilt so they're not just sitting straight up and down. And I'm just putting some wood glue on the top part of this and attaching it. Just a little tilt. Okay, to attach the head to the body, I am taking a 1/4-inch drill bit and I'm going to drill right through the center of my stump, and I'm going to drill right through the center of the Jenga blocks. Now, you don't have to do it this way. If you're not going to ship this, I'm shipping this out of state and I just want to make sure it stayed together. You could just use some E6000 glue and attach it that way. And if you're using a pool noodle, you could just stick the neck right through the hole of the pool noodle. The length of my dowel stick, I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in the middle of my stump and mark it where it meets at the top. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Jenga block, and then I'm going to add the two together to get the length of my dowel stick. And then I'm just going to cut this with my miter shears, and then I'm going to glue them in. Okay, I'm just going to use a little hot glue right inside the neck part. Go ahead and put my stick in, and I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue inside the stump and then glue these together. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. Hey, I think these little guys turned out super cute. Let me know what you think. If you like owls or decorate with owls, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Next one, I'm taking a pool noodle and I'm going to cut 2 of them at 5 inches in length. And then I'm going to cut one of them in half. I'm going to glue 1/2 on each side of the larger noodle. And then I'm going to put a rubber band around the top and the bottom just to hold it together until it dries well. I'm just taking some rocks that I had. I'm just pushing one down in the bottom of this center one, and then I'm going to put one on each side as well. This will give it a little bit of weight. Just make sure you do get it flat. Take a piece of burlap that's big enough to go around this where you have excess on the top part. We're making a little planter for this, and then we're first going to cover it with some craft paper, and I'm taking a little light pack, and you want to put brand new batteries in there because you're going to have this sealed up. You're not going to be able to open it up to put new batteries in it. Roll it up, and then we're just going to glue this over the edge. You want to cut the top off pretty close down to where the noodle is. Just don't cut your wire. And I'll give you the link for these. These are little remote control light packs. Pull your fabric on around the top part. Try to make sure it's kind of even all the way around. And then we're going to tie it off with a piece of jute string. And I am going to take a rubber band to kind of put around the center of this to hold it together until I can get my string on there. You're going to need to trim your paper a little bit smaller. You want to kind of go up towards the top part of the noodle is, and again, watch out cutting your wire. I'm using a long piece of jute to tie around the front. I am going to wrap it around a couple of times, but I'm just tying it in a knot to start with, and then I'm going to trim my jute. And I'm going to remove the rubber band after I get all this tied off. And I'm just trimming around the edge with leaving probably about 2 inches above where that noodle is. And I'm just trimming it off straight. And you could leave the battery pack out. If you don't want to put it inside there, you could just prop it up behind your little bundle there. If you do think that you're going to need to replace your batteries more often. But I actually used mine last year for Christmas, and I didn't have to replace my batteries at all. I bought these 2 bundles of leaves at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to hook them together. And I'm putting in a dowel stick in the center, and this dowel stick is exactly the same size of the hole in the center of the noodle. And I'm taping all this together just to give it a little bit extra height. So I'm having my dowel stick come down probably about maybe 4 inches below those 2 stems. And then I'm just using regular masking tape to tape this together. To make it look more like a branch, I'm taking some craft paper and I'm just wadding it up. I want to get it real wrinkled. It gives it a great texture for painting. Then I'm just opening it up, and then I'm going to wrap it around my bundle. And I'm trying to get it pretty tight here. And to give it an even edge, I'm just going to cut it straight up the side, and I'm going to glue that over. Just tuck it in real well, and then glue it. And then I'm using a chip brush and some brown chalk paint and black chalk paint, and I'm just going to lightly go over it all around it. And this is where it's going to just kind of go into the raised areas, and then the part that's not raised will still stay the craft color. And I'm putting quite a bit on here. And then after you get all the brown on there, just kind of lightly go over it with the black, and it'll look like, it'll give it more depth. And that's why I wrinkle the paper, because it is getting on the edges of where the raised areas are only. Then I stuck it right down inside of my noodle, and I'm going to start wiring up. And I'm going to wire each one of the branches. And I'm going to wrap it around the branch to the end of it, wrap it back down, and then go to the next branch and do the same thing until I'm completely done. And it's easier if you go ahead and turn your lights on while you're doing this because it makes it where you can see it a little better. And this one has a lot of different settings, so you can make it just blink continuously. You can make it kind of dim on, dim off. There's like 9 settings on this. And there's a self timer where you can run it for 6 hours and then it'll turn off for 18 hours. But I just went ahead and ran it up each one of my branches. And then I'm coming in with 3 leaves, bigger leaves, and I'm just putting them right at the base to kind of cover up the transition between the paper branches and the other branches. It just made the tree kind of blend all together. This was such a simple project. I think it turned out so pretty. Let me know what you think. You could light it up part of the time, or you could just have it sitting there without lights at all. And the batteries do last a long time. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if nobody's told you today, you're awesome.